Hi, I am your host, Danielle Smith.
And my name's Dani Teveluwe, and welcome to our podcast.
It's Glow Time.
We'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Yugambeh and Komameri people, and pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, acknowledging that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
So welcome to this week's episode of It's Glow Time. My name is Danielle Smith, and this week we have Dani T in the hot seat, where I will be interviewing her so you can learn all about her brightness and glow. So I am very lucky to have her in my life. We met, like we mentioned last week, 2 years ago at a workshop, and I was drawn to her beautiful singing voice because she was in an ice bath busting out these amazing tunes as her coping mechanism to get through it. And by golly, she has the voice of an angel, and she is this amazing singer, songwriter, school teacher, meditation, yoga, Pilates teacher. She has so many amazing hats to her gifts, and just a beautiful, bright soul who I am so grateful to have as a friend, and am so grateful to be co-hosting this awesome podcast with. And I couldn't think of anyone else that I'd rather be getting to spend every week with, hanging out, talking to cool people. So I am going to welcome Dani T to the microphone.
Hello, Danielle. How are you? Thank you for those beautiful words. That was so kind.
No worries. Your turn to blush.
Yeah.
So let's get started by, first of all, if you can share with us what you're going to be up to this year, because in 2022, because last year you have been busy working behind the scenes, creating music, magic, filming. So if you can give us a bit of a rundown of what's the plan for Dani T, the musician and artist, singer, songwriter, has in store for us.
Yeah, 2022 is looking to be really fun. So I spent a fair bit of 2021 releasing music and kind of working a lot on that front. I got to release 3 singles and 3 music videos, which was really, really cool. Really challenged me in like a really good way. And also halfway through the year, or 3/4 through the year, I went back to the recording studio and I recorded 5 tracks for my EP, which will come out this year. So an EP, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a mini album. So it's not as many tracks that are on an album. Traditionally, it's between like 4 to 6, maybe 7 would be a longer EP. That's when you're getting closer to album territory. And I suppose when you do begin recording music and releasing music, you learn the extent of work that goes into all of it. It's so crazy. Because I suppose even just like prior to that, preparing for the studio, I kind of decided I was going to release an EP in 2022. From there, I wrote like a list of all the songs I'd written and I'd been playing a lot at my gigs. And from there also, I was like, okay, well, which ones are going to make it onto the EP? We do some pre-production work. So my partner and I, Matt, recorded the songs at our home studio and kind of figured out the tempo, ironed out any lyrics, or kind of just subtly tweaked songs so we knew that they were ready and kind of finished. And then I went to the studio to work with my producer, and everything was recorded there. yeah, and even from there, I suppose, like, you go through revision processes, listening to the mixes, the versions of the song, changing different levels or adding little sounds here and there, taking them out. And
so big project.
very big project. I know, that's even before you even like add in a music video or anything like that. Yeah, so sorry, you go.
Oh, yeah, no, so I was just, yeah, but just by what you just explained to us, there's it becomes such a massive project. At any time during the process, did you really start to learn a lot about yourself in regards to your capabilities? And then did you hit any roadblocks that nearly deterred you from not pushing ahead with it at all?
Yeah, definitely. This time around the studio was really awesome. I had reflected upon my previous singles and wanted to be a lot more like freer in the studio and just open to the vibe of each song. The most important thing for me is like when you decide to record a song is you need to honor that song. So you're there to serve the song. That's what everyone in the room is there for. So I kind of came in a lot more prepared, which made it easier to let go at the right times and just roll with the flow. Because sometimes a song evolves in like a way you're not expecting. And I often find if you've done the preparation prior to that, you're cool to just like let it roll with how it's supposed to go. And I suppose I realized I'm very organized, which is really handy actually.
Very handy to work with you.
Yeah, I do have a very good organizational skill set. I still get stressed when organizing things though, but I'm getting a lot more comfortable with that. So just also to like keep timelines, I've already filmed a couple of music videos for songs that are coming out earlier in 2022. And yeah, like it stressed me out a little bit because there's a lot of moving parts. Even organizing a photo shoot, I was like, oh, I've got to organize myself and a photographer and hair and makeup all in one afternoon. That was like, seems stressful. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose it was a little bit stressful. And it's sometimes you're like, oh, do I really want to do this? But it's all in service of the song and like to be creative. So yeah.
And I think we've had this conversation before. You've mentioned that you did used to be quite attached to the song at first. So like previously you might have like held quite tightly with it, but now you're a lot more open at, working more with the producer to allow people to come through to offer their advice in regards to it. What do you think helped you to be able to become more open and let go to allow that process to take place?
I feel it's a combination of things, like definitely previous experience. Then reflecting on that. So yeah, when I first started writing songs, like I'd be very attached to them. And I'm sure a lot of songwriters probably experience that initially, and it depends, I suppose everyone's different as well, but yeah, I was very attached to how the song should be and should go, though I've kind of become a bit more open to the fact that when you choose to work with a certain producer, you're choosing to work with them for a reason, because they're going to bring their
expertise,
their expertise, their magic, their flair to the song, their experience. And then especially when you know you're working with someone who's approaches it from the same intention as you, like you're serving the song, that's all that matters to me. That's probably the most important thing. Like is everyone in the room there to serve the song? And then if they are, like, that's when it's really important to know when to like practice non-attachment and let go. Because you don't want your ego to stand in the way of allowing the song to be the best version of itself it can be.
And there is like quite a subtle like life metaphor in there around like attachment to anything, and attachment and expectation and just surrendering into it. So that is a beautiful little, I suppose, golden nugget of a life lesson as well in all of it.
So true. Like, yeah, definitely. I think we can all, like attachment's a really challenging thing. There's a lot of attachment in life, in our worlds. So yeah, learning to negotiate that is a really good lesson.
And also the ego, letting go of that ego is something I think everyone, you know, struggles with. And so yeah, it's cool that you can just, you know, be in that space and, you know, within your music having those lessons and having that growth. One thing that just came to mind is when you are doing your songwriting and, you know, music and releasing, is there some sort of message that you want to continue to come out with your music, or certain themes, or what do you want the listener to experience and feel when they're listening to your music?
That's an interesting question, because it's like often a song's inspired by something or someone or an experience. But then so often as well, people can attach their own meanings to it as well. And I think it's nice when you like allow space for that to happen. Like a part of the release is I usually tell a story about where the single came from, what it's about, or like something that's kind of a bit compelling around its creation or how it came to be. And that does provide like an opportunity for people to like learn a little bit more about me, or maybe to know they're not alone in a certain experience, that someone else has experienced that, which is nice.
Gives people hope.
Yeah. However, also as well, that I think that's kind of the cool thing about music is people get to create their own meaning for it. Like we're very lucky musicians, because we have all these like different platforms we get to show, and mediums we get to show our creativity. So from like the initial stages of songwriting and the musical elements, and then also like the visual element of music video, and even like the visual element of the single artwork. So it's cool to think you get to convey your message in all those different ways. I'm definitely still like working on that. I'd like it to become far more cohesive. However, yeah, like I've begun to see works more as a one bigger project now. I've begun to work more so that way in the last year. I think prior to that, I'd be more single focused and wasn't seeing things so broadly. So my EP coming out, it's like themed around courage. And everything, there's obviously a whole heap of different emotions that feed into that and experiences, but all the songs have like a drive into that took courage to allow that to happen. And yeah, I really enjoy working like that, and I'd love to just keep pushing forth with that with future projects. So approach projects more so from an EP or an album perspective, and like do my best to tie in the visual, the artwork element really nicely into the musical, because it's such a cool thing to think you get to offer this huge package of art in that way. It's a really cool opportunity. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, when you are in the midst of, you know, creating your songs, what do you find is the best way to ensure that you don't have, I suppose, like a creative block, or like what's your special secret tips for people that if they do experience some sort of block, what have you called on to help you to be able to be really present and to enhance your creative flair?
I think it takes a bit of a multifaceted approach, because it always depends. I usually so if I'm struggling to finish a song, sometimes maybe I'm not meant to finish that song right now. I should be working on something else. Maybe I need to actually just push through and work a bit harder on it, or maybe I need to bring someone else in to help me finish it.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult question because I think each song has its own little life in that way. Because yeah, I've had like great little lines pop up into my head, and then I like will work on them quite hard, or like really just like contemplate and sit with it for a while and experiment with different ideas, but it just doesn't sound right or sound finished. And then I might work with someone on that lyric and melody, and it flows from there. But it all depends. Like some songs just are written really quickly and easily, and some of them take a lot longer, and it's kind of like the beauty of the beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what sort of things do you like to do to keep yourself really like healthy and well, so that you can be really present when you are working on your craft and being creative?
Oh, well, I love practicing yoga and like exercising. I think it's so good to get into your body. That's what I love, like running, a hard Pilates class, a hard yoga class, just gets you out of your head and into your body and into the present moment. Really enjoy breath work and meditation for like my mental health. And that's been like a real game changer this last year. Like using those tools just to kind of just be better at life in general, to be honest. Yeah, like it's really nice the clarity meditation brings, just like choosing to sit. And like, man, if you had spoken to me like 5 years ago, I would have thought that was so dumb. Like, what's telling me it's productive to sit and do nothing? And you're like, yes, actually it really is. And what else? I love like spending time like with my partner, my dogs, going for walks, going out into nature when I can. Yeah, I think it's nice, especially just I suppose moments when you notice you're getting a bit too in your head, catching yourself. So just having that self-awareness and going, oh, you're like feeling very anxious right now. That's why your thoughts are like that. This is only temporary as well. So yeah, just like ride it out. Yeah,
because you circling back to your like your music as well in regards to this, you used to have a little bit of anxiety around like performance anxiety when you were, you know, doing gigs, and you'd get into your head. Which, could you talk us through kind of what happened in those moments?
Yeah, hugely so. I don't know, it's interesting. I like feel sometimes I still have work to do in that space. But yeah, I get really nervous, really, really nervous. Because it's quite a like vulnerable experience. You're like putting yourself out there to all this judgment, and that's how you can perceive it. And it can feel really overwhelming. Like, what will these people think of me? Do they like me? Like, do I sound okay? Do I sound shit? What's that facial expression mean? Oh my God. Like, it's very easy to spiral into this like crazy place, like with self-judgment. Yeah. So I definitely would observe that at gigs and be like, okay, you're just spiraling again into this. And you're like making all these assumptions about what people think. Also just coming back to the joy of why I do it. Like, it's a nice reminder to always come back to the fact that, yeah, I love playing music. I love singing. I do it for free. So the fact that I can go do that for work or get paid to do that is so awesome. The fact that I have like the confidence and the ability, like the connections, the financial ability to release music is awesome. Like, how lucky am I? So perhaps just like beginning to focus on all the things I have, not all the things I don't have.
Yeah, that's a really powerful. I read that somewhere the other day, and it's like we're always looking forward and like, what, because it's important to have goals and keep trying to work towards it, but you do forget about the gratitude of what you have in this very moment. So yeah, it's really cool that you can sit with that and by that.
Yeah, no, it really helps. Yeah, I suppose it really helped me get out of my head, because in those moments I'd be like getting into this negative spiral, and I was actually just like, I was the creator of my own discomfort. Like everyone was enjoying it and having a good time, and I'm sitting here having this like mental breakdown while singing the song. And
trying to remember words to lyrics and and play the guitar.
Also it's a little bit of just like, get over yourself. No one actually cares that much. Like,
because I know when I'm at a gig, like I'm not thinking about or like analyzing whether you're hitting a note or like whether things are in sync. It's just like you're just so connected to the moment of being there with music that it's like you're so present. Like you're definitely not in your head when you're listening to music at all. Like you're really in your heart, you're really in your body, especially when you're dancing as well. So
yeah. It's just coming back to the magic of it, because it is really magical. And also and also just learning to not compare. It's very easy to like, oh, I should be like, this person can do this, or like, look how incredible they are on guitar. And it's like, oh, but we're all different. Just like all like the flowers in the garden.
Well, comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yes, I'm gonna remember that as well. It's really important. Yeah.
And I think that like anxiety and self-doubt and fear, it's the opportunity to push through it, because the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. And so we're creating that in our own heads. And so if we can, like you've done, push through it and identify that we're creating the story and we're creating the narrative, and we're assuming what people are thinking when it's not actually happening. And if you can push through that, then that's where the magic is, and then the growth is. And and I'm sure it's still going to pop up every now and then for you and for other people that do experience anxiety, but it's about having control of those moments and having that breath to have to pull yourself back from having that reaction. So I think it's a lifelong lesson and experience, but I think you do get better at it. I think it's just a discipline and a consistent practice.
I think like there's a lot to be said as well for like the beauty in fear, because often that's when you're growing in a way. Like, and I suppose this is like the right kind of fear. It's not like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. I'm
in real bad danger, like a legitimate life
it's like that moment where you're like, oh, like you could potentially embarrass yourself or look like a fool or not look like what you're doing. Kind of those moments where like you do something that's pushed you out of your comfort zone and you're scared of that. That's like a really cool place to be for growth, because that means you're right in the spot where you're going to like upgrade yourself or like learn something that's going to make you a little bit better and do something you couldn't do before.
I always think about, I think it was Steve Jobs or something, that he had so many failures before he became successful. And like that's with most like entrepreneurs, they have all of these great ideas but they keep trying them all and not all of them succeed, but then they have this amazing thing that they've come to and have created this success, but they wouldn't have got there had they not gone through the process of failing. And so I think that's where wisdom comes from, because if you fail at the same thing all the time, then that's kind of a bit of you're not learning. But from each failure is an opportunity to evaluate, grow, and create that wisdom to do better and to do things a bit differently and to try something new. But if you're always in that comfort zone and not pushing through, then you're you're settling for mediocre. So it's important to feel the fear and feel into it, like face it in any way. I think there was a book that face the I've forgotten what the name is. Feel the fear and face it anyway, or something. I can't remember. It's like just step into it.
Yeah, it's a really cool part of like a learning process or a journey. And I try to remind myself of that when it comes up. If I begin to notice something scares me, I was like, oh, this is probably something I should look at a bit more, because this is like where the growth is going to happen then. Yeah. So it's cool to like, when that pops up for you, like, oh, okay, like if I'm scared of this, why is that?
Having that ability to self-reflect.
But it's currently beyond my comfort zone. Yeah.
Well, speaking of learning, I know that one of your biggest values is learning and growing. What sort of things have you got in the next? Are you going to be doing in the next 12 months to help to enhance your growth and your learning?
I'm still figuring that out. I really love goal setting, to give a bit of direction, to send your energy. And that's what I really apply for each release when I release music, is just to setting a couple of goals that I can work my way towards, because it's such a huge thing. It can easily feel quite overwhelming. So by having a couple of goals, you just feel a bit more centered, a bit more grounded with it. But things I'm working towards, definitely releasing the EP. And I just want to do the very best I can with it. Like put everything I've got on the table, do the songs as much justice as possible. I've been getting prepared for the releases, and I've still got work to do for future stuff, but just keep chipping away, doing the work. I really want to level up as a guitarist. So to do that, it's just having goals to work towards once more. And then also making myself accountable to do the practice, because it's all good to have goals, but if you're not working towards them, it's more of a dream still. So I think the biggest thing is just doing the work.
There was I saw a quote the other day that like, you are your actions, not your words. So it's like actually like, doing the work for it. And so on that note, I'm going to hold you accountable for something, because you need to do some busking.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Everyone demands Dani T to go busk in Burleigh. You won't be.
I was inspired by that. Like my friend Jack's been doing it, and for his like music career, and it's been really effective for him. And I just think as well, just like giving myself a no pressure environment to just go play my songs, even though like, I'm sure I'll definitely feel the pressure in my head at times. But like at the end of the day, like it's a really cool performance opportunity for myself. And for anyone.
It's like, you can refine, bits of songs and get, responses and, feedback from the audience, of people. So with your music, what's your big vision or life legacy that you want to leave behind in regards to your music? Like, do you want to be playing festivals or like, just doing more like producing, songwriting? Where do you see it, or where do you want it to all go?
Oh, definitely. Like I'd love to be like a household name with my music and releasing. It'd be really cool to do that, because I love writing songs. I love being creative. So just like to continually just reinvest back into my art, my craft, and yeah, just keep working with other people, growing. Yeah, it's a big question. But yeah, I suppose like the ultimate goal would to be like, yeah, performing like my music across the world, having a really huge fan base who really like connect with the songs in a meaningful way. And yeah, I suppose just like using that the funds and stuff I'd receive from that to continue to like grow that in a good way and hopefully create like more meaningful platforms and like just fund craft and art, or art in particular. Yeah. I think I need to like think about that a lot more and get a little bit more clarity around it.
Well, we will give you 12 episodes to think about that, and we will recheck in with you. I'm going to write a little note. Episode 12. We'll be checking in with your busking and your life vision.
Yeah, that's good. That's more than enough time to think about that.
So would you...
Have I mentioned it's been raining heaps on the Gold Coast?
I hear that as an excuse.
Damn it, she's onto me.
An obstacle with a solution.
Yes,
there's
like,
always an umbrella.
Yeah.
So who would you, if you could have any producer, and so it's going to be two-part question. You could have any producer that you could work with in the world at the moment, who would it be? And also any singer that you would want to be able to do a duo with, who would it be?
I don't know all tons of producers' names.
Okay.
But I suppose it'd be cool to work with I love what Phineas does with Billie Eilish and a lot of other artists. That would be really cool. And then I absolutely love Alicia Keys. She's been like a really inspiration for me for a really long time. So it'd be amazing to like write a track with her and like release a song. I feel like we'd really vibe. We both got like, I really dig her spiritual side. She really likes teachers. I'm a teacher. Like,
yeah. Does she say she likes school teachers?
Yeah, I read her book last year and she was like, yeah, if I wasn't a musician, I'd be a teacher.
Oh, you guys are meant to be best friends.
Yeah. No, she's and it's cool. I think over the years as well, I've like sometimes allowed other people's views to project onto like what it is to be a teacher, because unfortunately some people have had like shitty experiences with teachers and they've chosen to attach to that as a narrative and can project that onto other people, and I used to like really hold on to that, but like over the last few years I've been like, no, it's actually really cool to be a teacher. Like I get to be a role model for the kids, and like a really cool position to be in.
So when we talk about you being a teacher, what's the one thing that you want to give to the kids?
Yeah, so then to clarify, school teacher. No.
Yes, yeah.
Like teach yoga and Pilates and stuff, but
in regards to school teaching.
Yeah, well, I suppose like the number one thing like when teaching though, like in a traditional school context, is you're there to educate. But I suppose like, and yeah, you're there to educate the curriculum, but I suppose I also get to be a role model, and that was like I really began to honor like pretty seriously a few years ago. I was like, yeah, it's really cool. I get to be a positive role model to these kids and like show them how like an adult can choose to respond rather than react, and that we can all like make a difference to the world in a positive way, and to think a bit broader, have a little bit more empathy for people, be kind, I try to always remind myself as well that if I want, like, if I value something and say it's important, my actions should also show that. So just like you said before, it's like what you do is really important. It's more important than what you say. Anyone can talk the talk, but it's a lot harder to walk the walk.
And also people often say things that they think you want to hear, and not necessarily go ahead with actions about it. So yeah, it all comes down to actions and doing.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it'll also you do your best. Like, it can be like any job, it can be very busy and consuming at times. So it's also like teaching that to the kids as well. Like, yeah, you do your best. Like, what's your best at this moment though as well? Because if someone's like going through the ringer and has some stuff going on, it's like, yeah, your best is going to be a bit different right now to when like life is good and you feel comfortable with everything. Like, your best will vary between those two times. So learning to honor how like you're feeling right now as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool privilege to have to be a teacher, I think, because you are really assisting in shaping and molding like little humans, because you're with them so much of the day, of the year, of their time, you know, when they're in school. And so I think it's such a big honor and a privilege to be that. So I love the way that you look at it in regards to, you know, realizing that and, you know, being able to be a role model and to teach them things. What do you think made you want to be a teacher?
Honestly, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just I just started doing an education degree. I don't even remember why at the time. It was like I was talking to one of my uncles. He is a teacher. He's a principal down in Victoria. And he's like, yeah, you should do teaching. And I just did. And I finished my degree and it was good. I do enjoy it. Like it's a really great career. If you really enjoy working with people, if you really enjoy helping people, it gives you so many skill sets to be organized, to manage time, to manage people at all different ages and stages of life and from walks of life. And yeah, I think it teaches you to really think on your feet, teaches you a lot of empathy and understanding. And yeah, I suppose also there's like, it teaches you you have to really, to have like a sustainable career, like learn to know your boundaries and I suppose like how to value, like when you need to have a break so you can be your best self as well.
Yeah, because I remember I had a teacher in year 6 and she ended up having to like go on leave because she'd been teaching for like 30 years and I don't think she ever like had holidays, like she had the holidays with the school, but I think she like continued to work and you could just tell she wasn't self-caring. And yeah, and like the impact that had on me, because she left halfway kind of through, it does, like, you know, it's like you need to have that self-responsibility of, you know, taking care of yourself, because you can only be, you know, good to them if you're feeling good yourself. And so knowing the times to you know, to be able to take off before you get to like that breaking point. It's that whole oxygen mask philosophy. It's like, you know, when you're in danger, when the pline's going down, you got to bring that oxygen mask to yourself first before you can help someone else. So
yeah, and it is interesting because it's learning to be selfless by being selfish in a way, but you might be your best.
Oh, not selfish. I think like self-caring or self-loving.
Yeah, actually, that's probably a really good correction. Yeah. Because, and I suppose that's like another reason why I probably value meditation so much is it just allows me to be like a better teacher as well, a better person in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you come into meditation? What was your journey to get there?
So I got to do my yoga teacher training, which I'd been wanting to do for so long in 2019. It was so awesome. I just like was so stoked to be there. Yeah. And that was actually self-care year. I left my classroom teaching position halfway through the year to go travel Europe and become a yoga teacher. My kids thought it was very funny. But the parents were like, go you're only young ones to do it. So through there I'd never really sat in meditation, or I'd done shavasana and stuff in my yoga classes because I'd been practicing for a while. And we'd sit in meditation at the start of each learning day for like at least half an hour through to we were meditating for about 70 minutes by the end of the month-long immersion. And it was really nice. It was really good. However, I started to try meditate at home and I'd sit there in silence and I'd be like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, I just wanted to move straight away. I was like wanting to fidget. I didn't like the silence. There'd be all these thoughts coming in. So I stopped for a bit, and then I started doing guided meditations because it just kept like coming back to me, like, and I really did want to build a meditation practice. And I started with guided meditations, and then from there I did a meditation immersion with my teacher. And from there I kind of like began to sit daily. So I learned a meditation I really liked, a chakra meditation, and I have a little app I use. A lot of yogis probably know it, the Insight Timer. It's really great. It's got like guided meditations on there as well. So if you're a beginner to meditation, really advise like choosing like maybe a 10-minute guided meditation to begin easing yourself into it, because it's really confronting to sit in silence. And I'd sit down and have my little bells go off, and at each chakra center just focus my attention there. And also I got to a stage then when I found that was a little too busy. And I recently learned Vedic meditation off Rich, who is one of our lovely guests on the podcast. And it's nice. I have that as a daily practice now. And just, I can just sit now in silence, and it's quite enjoyable. Some days you sit and it's a lot of thoughts coming up, which is also completely normal. Some days you'll go deeper into a meditative state or relaxation. And also, I suppose it's a great opportunity to practice non-attachment, because each day is different. Each meditation is different. The victory is when you're sitting down and you're choosing to sit and like maintain that habit. So I always remind myself of that. Like, that's the real win. And especially if I'm sitting in a meditation, I notice myself getting a bit agitated and wanting to get up. That's when you're like, no, now is the time for meditation. I'm going to sit.
That's when you need it the most.
And that's also where like the growth, that's where the magic happens. Because you're essentially training your body and like developing self-discipline and self-control, going, no, we're going to sit now. So well,
that's the thing with like meditation. It's not about being a good meditator. We meditate so we can be better at life. So we're not all like, monks that are going to have these transcendental experiences every time. Like, they dedicate hours and lives. But as modern day people, being able to sit just by opting to sit for 20 minutes with no stimulation or input, and just being with your thoughts, that's what helps you be better at life and to handle things. Because I love how Rich explains this analogy that when you shake up a soda bottle, or like a lemonade bottle, and then it's like all bubbly, and it's like the pressure is like creating this hard plastic bottle, and then you open it and it suddenly explodes. Like, when we don't meditate, that's what happens, because we have all of this like pressure put on our bodies. But then each time we meditate, it's just slowly releasing the pressure. So like releasing that lid and allowing that pressure to come. So each time we choose to sit on the mat, we're just getting rid of that extra little bit of pressure, so we're not not so heightened and on high alert. And
yeah, it is. It's so true. You meditate because you want to be better at life. And there's so many studies. I'm reading a new book at the moment, and it was just saying, just if someone consecutively meditates for 4 days, they're already getting huge benefits of focus, mindfulness, calmness, peace, happiness. So, and also we don't need to be meditating for hours and hours on end. Like 20 minutes is enough, which is cool, because for a lot, like I think when you put it in a doable and attainable space, you're like, oh yeah, I could do 20 minutes. If you were to say an hour, it might be a bit off-putting for a lot of people. Go, I can't schedule that. But yeah, again, it's everyone's choice as well. Like I'll always plug the benefits of meditation because it's helped me so much. And there's a lot of science backing its efficacy and its benefits. However, at the end of the day, someone's got to want to choose to do it.
And there's also different forms of meditation as well. Like I've spoken to a lot of surfers, and like when they're sitting out there waiting for a wave, like sometimes there'll be 15-20 minutes where there's no wave for them to catch, and so they're just lying on their board out in nature, present, because they're waiting for that wave to come in, and like that's their meditation. And like that's, you know, and then even like some runners will find that flow and that groove, and their thoughts are calm because
that's like
in that
flow state, it's actually like pure
pure presence.
And that's like a lot of athletes and artists experience that, like states of pure presence, which is a really beautiful thing.
So where can we find you if we wanted to do one of your yoga classes or meditation sessions?
So you can look me up on, I have a website which I managed to build. One
of your creative hats.
It's good. That scared me a lot, learning to build that. It's very simple, but I suppose like online, on my website, on Instagram, on the socials, those kind of things. All of my music is on Spotify. I will be releasing 6 tracks next year at least, which is super exciting.
Do we have a date?
The first one is coming out on the 11th of February.
Ooh, 11th of February, 2022.
So it's really exciting, actually. I'm just finalizing all of the assets for the release at the moment. Getting ready for that because I'm working with a publicist this time around. So
So do you name your EP? Like, is there an album, like an EP name?
It's called Into the Deep.
Ooh. And where was that name inspired by?
There's this beautiful David Bowie quote, and it talks about creativity and how you need to be a little bit out of your depth in the ocean. So like walking out into the waters, it's when your feet finally don't touch the ground, just when you're in that spot where the creative magic happens. And I really like that. I just like that analogy just for life in general as well, because it's like this beautiful notion of like one foot in safety, one in chaos. So I feel it is nice to have like some grounded elements around you whilst that's happening, because maybe this different folks, different strokes, different folks, that's the saying. I definitely like to have an element of safety or like groundedness in my life, and then space to like explore and push myself. And I really like that.
Cool. Well, I love the name. It's so awesome. Can't wait to hear all of your music come to life and see all the amazing video clips that you're going to release as well. And I know that you are, you're going to have great success with it, and you deserve all the great success with it as well, because I see all the hard work that you put into it. Like, you really, you do the work, and you're constantly working on yourself as well, but then putting in the effort with all of everything you do. So can't wait to see where the next couple of years takes you. But I feel like now is for our quick fire round with some of our questions. Are you feeling that, or is there something else you want to share with us?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, while you were speaking, it just came up. It was interesting how, like, I'm looking forward to becoming a bit more confident with knowing what I want. So I do know I really one of my goals is, I'd love to be like a household name in music, but I feel so timid to say that. And it's interesting how, like, you can be, how to phrase it, like, timid and asking for what you want, essentially. Like, and where that comes from, but that perhaps that's just like something to contemplate for now. That
is an interesting one.
I feel it might be a bit more confidence.
It's interesting because it takes confidence to stand up in front of people and sing, and to be vulnerable with your own music, and so you're conquering that. Like, you're doing amazing at that, but then having that timidness.
I feel it's a spectrum though, like anything, like there's a spectrum of it. So
and I suppose that comes back to a thing also of, like, as a society, it's hard for us to ask for what we want sometimes, because, and so maybe that's where it comes from as well. Like, there's a deeper layer. It's not just necessarily.
Potentially, I suppose, like, I think sometimes it's interesting. Like, I'm not sure if it's like it's definitely not just within Australia, but Australian society can kind of be known, sometimes it's easier to not try because you can't fail. It's
safety.
Scary. The safety, but then also there's like this, like, I don't know how to phrase it, but sometimes it's like, maybe it is, it's like half afraid to say it because I could fail. So maybe I'm just searching outside of myself, trying to find an excuse for that, instead of, like, just going within myself. So
because I know you're a big believer in lover of Joe Dispenza, and that's all around, like, feeling into the emotion of something that's already happened. And so if you're not being able to say, I want to be a household name, and, like, like, that's what I'm working towards, and not being timid in saying that, like, you need to be able to say that, to feel it and believe it, that it's already happened, to allow that to come, for your body and success to catch up to it.
I think, again, it's just perhaps taking time to allow new pathways to form as well.
Well, I'm going to invite everyone that's listened to this podcast to admit to something that they want to happen and want to achieve that they've been too scared to.
Perhaps it's cool to think of, like, what's, like, you've always wanted to do, or what you really want to do. That kind of scares you a little bit.
Scared of, like, of rejection, scared of failing. I'd
hate to fail at saying failing. No.
I failed at saying failing.
Like, that was on a platter for me. I couldn't help it.
I know. Hey, I would have taken it too. So I'm going to think about that this week and share that maybe I'll share that on socials about what I've been scared to say that I want.
It's just something to think about.
I'm going to do that. That's my homework. Thought-provoking, Dani T. Love it.
All right.
Okay, so if you could put a billboard anywhere in the world, where would it be, And what would your message be?
I'd love for it to be advertising my music in New York Times Square.
Yay.
Yeah.
Just all like each just like a billboard of you with your music.
Yeah, just it's cool when you see that. It's like it's a really cool moment for artists when they get to see that and go, yeah, well, a big milestone.
Yay.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
It's
gonna happen.
Cool.
It's gonna happen.
No, not it would be so cool. It will be.
It is going to be so cool. I can't wait for that moment.
I'll fall off my
so what is your favorite quote that you live by?
I have a few of these. I never used to be a quote person either. One of them is Gandhi's "Be the change you want to see in the world," which I really
love that.
Yeah, I really feel it embodies it's what you do, not what you say. So yeah, always think about like the little actions you want to see and do something about it. Another one is by Wayne Dyer, "What would love do?" So sometimes when I'm conflicted with like what decisions to make, always like reminding myself to come from a place of love. And that's really important. And there's another one, but it's just not coming to mind, but we'll just settle for those two for now.
Okay. Well, they're amazing ones. They're beautiful. I forgot about "What would love do?" That just reminded me. I'm going to start reminding myself to say that. Because it all comes back to love.
It's it's a really great one when you're in like a challenging situation, because it also like it often pushes you to take the more courageous step.
Yeah.
Instead of like residing in fear, like what would love do? Like, and love isn't a pushover and just like, don't tell them about it because it hurt their feelings. Like it's choosing to do the right thing, even when it's a hard thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think love can be misconstrued as a weakness, like not strong, but I feel like choosing the love route is when you something that's like so passionate and real and authentic, and that's when it comes from that space. It's so much like it's so powerful.
Yeah. And it's just I like just got that became a really important part of my life, that quote, after doing like yoga teacher training and just meeting like the women I got to do my teacher training with are all so incredible, and they really inspired me like to always just like do the right thing and come from a loving place. Yeah
And it can be the hard route as well, because sometimes saying or telling people what they need to hear is hard, but it's coming from a loving space. It's not coming from, hatred. It's coming from a caring space, but it's also, the conversation can sometimes be hard because it's something they may not want to hear, but it's something that they need to hear as well.
And it all like it's so contextual, it all depends, but yeah, it's good. I think it really, I don't know, I've found a lot of solace and comfort with that quote.
Cool. What do you think is one game-changing tool that you've come across in your life that helps you to keep you at your glowiest?
Definitely meditation, complete game changer for me. Breath work is a very, very powerful and potent tool to change a state. And there's also, we're so lucky to live in such like a time where it's so accessible. And exercise is really, really important. I think I exercise more so for my mental health now than I love the physical benefits, but it's so much so for my mental health.
Cool. So you've mentioned Alicia Keys, you wanting to the song with. Is there someone else that you would love to be up on stage with performing?
Oh, that's like such a hard question to answer because there's so many people.
Top three.
Top three, even that's hard. For now, because I feel like
in this moment
it always changes. Yeah, obviously Alicia Keys, that'd be sick. Oh, I don't know if I want to answer the question. Actually, I'm going to think of artists I really love at the moment.
They can be past as well. You know,
that makes it so easy.
Yeah.
It'd be sick to like, obviously like Prince, he's so cool. He's an he's amazing. I've been really enjoying George Harrison's stuff. He's a Beatle. And I really love a lot of his songs. And it'd be endless. I reckon it'd be pretty cool to hang out with Ed Sheeran, just because he just seems like such a chill dude. I reckon he'd just be funny to hang around with.
Yeah.
But
to
be honest,
I love his music as well. He's so talented, but also such a cool guy.
Yeah, he like writes amazing songs. The cool thing is though, there's so many incredible like up and coming artists as well, like that people haven't heard of. But like I love Sahara Beck. She's this awesome Brizzy musician. Her stuff is incredible, and I feel like she's so close to like really breaking it big time. And yeah, like that's a really hard question to answer, even though I wrote that question.
Yeah. What was your first ever album that you bought?
Dido's Life for Rent.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And what was your first concert that you ever went to?
Avril Lavigne.
She was a skater boy.
Oh my God, it was so good. I screamed so loud.
Oh, awesome.
So
well, cool. Thank you so much for jumping in the hot seat today and sharing your music knowledge with us and all about yourself. And I look forward to sharing the next 12 months of episodes with you. And I look forward to joining you again next week for our next week's interview, which will be with Kirsty Higginson. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. See you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
If you loved what you heard today and want to hear more, then don't forget to head over to your chosen platform of choice and subscribe so you can hear more of It's Glow Time.